Hey guys, how's it going? So today I wanted to talk a bit about this idea of why we call God he or a man. Because God is not a man. In Catholic theology, we understand that God is a spirit. And so as a spirit has no body and no gender, thus no sex, no male, no female. So why do we call God him or he and not perhaps she? I've seen clips recently of people saying that there is a very comforting image to them of God as a woman. There can be either like a grandma kind of image or a motherly kind of image, something like that, that gives them a lot of comfort. And I think these images are great. If that's a way that you can relate to God and feel comfortable with God, I think that is fine. I think that's acceptable. But as a whole, we always call God he. And the church has actually spoken a little bit on this. And it's not just because of men being traditionally in power. It is not because of the patriarchy. It is not for all these side, often common today opinions. The reason we call God he is because that's what he himself tells us to call him. Jesus, in his incarnation, became incarnated as a man. And so when referring to the second person of the Trinity, that is Jesus, that is the Son, it is appropriate as he fully assumed his masculine identity, that of a man. He is truly human in the second person and a man. So it is absolutely appropriate to call him him. And I would say in this case, it would be inappropriate to call Jesus her, because Jesus was in fact not a woman. He was a man, even if we look into the historical record, because we know historically that he existed and was a man. But what of the Father, the first person of the Trinity? In the first person of the Trinity, we call him Father. And I think this is often where we end up calling God as a whole in all three of his persons as Father. And this is because Jesus himself, in the deposit of faith, that is everything of theology and our beliefs, all the dogmas of the faith, that came directly from Jesus himself, said to call him Father. This was actually very significant because the Jews did not see God as their Father. He was their creator. He was their leader. He was their God. He was not their Father. It was, in fact, blasphemy to call God Father. And this is one of the reasons it was so significant that Jesus called God Father. That's one of the reasons that they killed him. But he doesn't just say that he was his Father. When the disciples asked Jesus how they should pray, he says, "Our Father." He directly instructs the apostles and his disciples to call God their Father. Now, is it inappropriate to think of God in these kind of motherly ways? No, it is not. And in fact, there are a number of places in the Bible where God is referred to in a feminine manner. However, in each of these places, it is saying that God is like a mother or like a woman. It is not declaring God to be a woman, and it is not instructing us to relate to God as our mother. That is, it would be inappropriate to begin calling the first person of God, God the Mother, because that is not how God himself directed us to refer to him. He told us to call him Father. These points in the Bible, like the one verse I'm trying to think of was it says that when God did this like a mother. Again, we as Catholics do not believe that God is male or female. We do believe that males, men, and women are created together in God's image. As we all know, Genesis says, in his image he created them, male and female he created them. That is, both in being male and in being female, we are created in God's image. That is not the same as saying that God is male and female. That is not the same as saying that we can call God male and call him female. It's not like he's both. God is neither. God is the progenitor of what it means to be a man and the progenitor of what it means to be a woman. That's just a fancy way of saying that from God is where we get those qualities of being a man or being a woman. But that does not mean that God himself is both a man and a woman, or both like a man and like a woman. Rather, that all mankind is like God. And in being men and being women, we show our being like God in different ways. God is not male or female, but he did instruct us to call him Father. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked it, do please give it a like. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, anything, throw it in your comments box down below. I do try to respond to every single comment, and sometimes I make a video in response to your comments. If you guys would like to see more of my videos, do please hit the subscribe button. That way I will show up in your feed every time I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless.